and myself. Paul, you can hear us, right?
I hear you, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, the first thing on the agenda was the review and approve minutes of the April 26th special meeting we had. I don't know if everyone had a chance to go through it. It talked about the 5-year lease extensions, the farm stand zoning regulations, and the baseball diamond. Is there any types of comments or changes you'd like to see that, should have been made, or is everyone good with that?
Fine to me. I'm happy to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. So that was unanimously approved. Then the second thing was on the agenda here, the meeting dates for the 22nd and 23rd. So usually we meet on the second Tuesday of the month. I didn't realize we had a meeting we're supposed to have a meeting back in October. I was flat out, so that just went above my head here, and I apologize for that. For the upcoming times, we have November, which would be the
Which is today.
the 8th. Then we have December 13th, January 10th.
Wait, the second Tuesday. Yes.
The second Tuesday of the month. Then we had February 14th. I don't know, some people want to do it, some people don't. Do you want to change that to another date? No?
I personally don't care, but I defer to the rest of the group.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, Steve?
I don't know what the future will hold on that.
I mean, we could move it to the next day, to the 15th.
Well, I won't be able to do your meeting. That's a Board of Selectmen meeting.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Wait a minute. Let me look.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I don't have my 23rd calendar up here yet. But if that's the second Wednesday, that's a Board of Selectmen meeting.
All right, so then let's do it the following Tuesday. How's that?
Well, do you think it would be beneficial to meet before the Board of Selectmen meeting in case we?
Okay, want to do it on that Monday, the 13th? Jerry, are you available then?
Yep.
So let's do it. Is everyone good with the 13th?
I actually have something on my calendar already that night. I'm sorry to throw. But if we're not concerned, we can do it after the Board of Selectmen. I was just throwing that out there as a.
So let's do it the following Tuesday then. How's that? Which would make it no, it would be the 21st.
I'm hopping off.
Hold on. It'd be the 21st.
This is Jerry.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, Jerry's-
I'm fine with either. Well, not really, but with a flat tire.
Leland, you good with that?
It's the, hold on just a minute. I just want to.
Hold on. So we have December 13th, January 10th, February 21st. Then I thought we'd do the 14th of March and April 11th. Is everyone good with that, you think? Leland? You good with those?
Yep, I'm good with that. I'm just writing it in the calendar here.
Okay, how about you, Andrea?
I am good with those. I just want to make you aware that I will be on my 2-year delayed honeymoon in April. So I will not be present at the April meeting.
Okay,
If it's important that I be present, I will be available the first Tuesday in April, April 4th. But I'm okay with you all proceeding without me.
do you wanna, because I might not be here on the 11th as well.
Okay.
I don't know that. I won't know that till around the first of the year. So we tentatively can set a date and then we can always come back and change that date, I believe. As long as we give enough time wait for, I guess we have to make be able to change it. Or do you want to go with the 4th? Does that work with you? Are you good? Are you still gonna? No?
It guarantees that we both be there. And if it works for Christina, Steve, and Leland, then maybe that's the safest
So then
bet.
let's do the 4th, okay? I'll put April 4th. So
And then let's just make sure that February 22nd works for Christina.
21st.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Works for Christina. Because that might be break from school. And so I don't know if
No,
Right.
great.
Hi, all.
complicates things.
Hi,
Sorry, I'm
hi,
late.
Christina.
I was trying and didn't manage to log on with a computer, so I'm on my phone.
Okay.
I will just look at the school calendar right now, unless Steve happens to have it open. There
I was
is a
just pulling that
February
open as
break.
well. Yeah.
I think it is break at Beecher. And by I think I am confident that that is Beecher's. But Beecher only has 2 days off.
That's the last
Yes,
day because we
Monday and
start school the next
Tuesday,
day.
yeah.
No more week, no, those days of having a week off are long gone. Those are long gone. I just, do you want to shoot for the 22nd then?
I defer to the other parents. I'm good with the 21st. We don't have any plans for that break.
Let's leave it at the 21st and we can always change it. Okay? Are you good with that?
I think that
Steve?
makes sense.
Let's
Sure.
leave it at the 21st because I got to be on the buses starting the next morning. So I know I'm not going too far. I'd be back by Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon if I was going anywhere because I know I got to be back for Wednesday morning. So here's the dates we got. We got tonight. We have December 13th, January 10th, February 21st, March 14th, and April 4th. Okay? All right. So all those in favor of those dates, say aye. Is there a first one? Is anybody gonna make a motion for those dates?
I can make a motion.
Okay. Anybody to second it?
Second it.
All right, so we got Andrea. And then I got Leland first. All those in favor? Aye.
I
Aye.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's done. All right. So, and we have the status of the farm stand zoning regulations. It did pass. We were all there. I thought that was something that we had started out with and we were able to finish it. And I want to thank you all for being there at the meeting and be able to answer any questions that were out there for everyone. I appreciate that. It worked out very well for me. I know that. I don't know, does anybody else have any more comments that they want to talk about it? No? Okay. Okay. Well, I thought we had good support from the town with that. And I thought that, people are out there seeing what our needs are and where we're going. So, I thought, that this was an upbeat thing for, I think, all of us. And I'm really happy that we're able to move forward with that. So that's where we're at with the status with that. So that's done. I think the next one was a co-sponsor educational program with the Conservation Commission. It's a jumping worm, and then it says other. I think that was with you, Andrea. Wasn't that with you, or is that?
Gotten a call from Tim Austin, who serves on the Conservation Commission,
Yeah,
who had an idea based on discussions the Conservation Commission has been having and just personal experience with the kind of relatively newly introduced jumping worm, which is an invasive worm that, are you all familiar with it?
not really, I'll be honest with you. No.
Well, Chris, honestly, my knowledge is limited as well, other than, you have it. I mean, you can easily see they're worms that do physically jump and wiggle, and they consume the detritus, so all the leaf litter, and organic matter on the forest floor or, any natural setting. And so it's a sign if that area is absent of leaf litter and organic matter that there may be jumping worms. And they're primarily introduced, to my understanding, through nurseries, mulch, and maybe potting mixes. And anyways, they're in Connecticut, they're in New Haven County. People have reported them in Woodbridge, though I have not physically seen them. And Tim called us thinking that farmers may have a full concern about them. And we in Woodbridge happen to have an expert, Anna Dobson. She is just a resident who did her PhD on these jumping worms, and I guess Tim and Anna have been in touch, and toyed around with the notion of having, at the very least, an informational session to those that are interested at the library or someplace comparable. But really, so Tim wanted to gauge our interest as a commission to see if this is a topic that we feel worth taking on and addressing with the public, providing them with information, resources, and if we were interested, you suggested, selecting 1 or 2 members from the Ag Commission and 1 or 2 members from the Conservation Commission, and they can kind of work together to put on a preliminary outreach workshop or info session and then discuss next steps. That's really the extent of my understanding of his request. And I don't really feel strongly about it, so I'm curious to hear what you all feel and think.
For myself, I'd like to just do a little research on this, Andrea, before I, could say anything. I'd be honest with you. This is all new to me. And I would just like to look into it over the next, so we could bring it forward to maybe the next meeting and have some better discussion on it. And my feeling is, I don't know much about it. I really can't give too much comment on it.
Yeah.
I'd like to at least educate myself on it. I wasn't quite sure of when you had sent me the information. I had forwarded to Jerry, and I said, well, let her explain a little to me of what's going on so I have a little better idea. So at least I have a better idea what's going on and I can educate myself a little bit more about it. Has anybody else experienced this or seen anything or heard anything about this?
I know two people in Woodbridge who have jumping worms on their property.
Yeah.
I don't think I have them on mine. I haven't noticed any of them or seen their activity, but I think it makes sense maybe to come back at the next meeting if that's not too long. But I think an info session about an invasive species that um, might impact farms, but also gardeners in Woodbridge. I think that kind of falls within our purview just as people who are interested in agricultural interests in the town. In terms of the commission, I know this doesn't necessarily, um, you know, I guess it kind of goes back to what our mandate is, but I think in promoting the interests of agriculture in the town, it would be kind of an interesting opportunity for us to partner on an event that could be educational for all of us. I'm interested to talk more.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
I concur.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I agree with Christine. I mean, if I don't know anything about it, so I think it'd be a good opportunity to learn something, especially if it could affect agriculture. I mean,
All right. So
representing farmers here.
I'll do some research on it, and if everybody else wants to do a little bit, we can come back to this subject for the next meeting. If everyone's good with that? Yeah,
And if anybody wants to talk to Tim directly, I'm happy to, and Tim would be happy for me to provide you with his contact information. So you can, if you wanted to get a better sense of his vision. So I'd imagine if we were to get involved, our vision would be equally as, important and valuable. But let me know if you want his contact information.
I think you should send that information to Jerry, Andrea. I think that's a good start. Just send his information to Jerry so we could reach out to him.
Okay.
Okay?
I have
Thank
a
you.
question to ask. Do you want me to, I know several garden clubs are starting to hold informational sessions on this jumping worm problem. Would you like me to contact the president of the Woodbridge Club to see if they're planning anything?
Yeah, that would be nice, Jerry. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
My driver's here, so I'm going to jump off, but it's being recorded.
Good luck.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So the next thing that we had talked about, or would like to talk about, was the fifth thing on the agenda. It was about holding a farm tour. She put spring of 2030. I think that's a typographical error there. I think so. And we have private farms that a selectman tour the leased lands, partnership with the Economic Development Commission. I really think it is something that, and this is also, I forward a little to the land lease of everything here. I sort of combine. I think if the selectmen saw what we're using the land for, I think they'll get a better feel of why we would need to extend out some of the leases. Just to, meet one Saturday or something like that. That's just I think it's a good thought of how we're using the land and how we're trying to make it better. And I think it's advantageous to the town if we get some of these grants. I mean, Christina, you had something where you were going to clean up some of the invasive species and everything else, and you were working with the state to get a grant, but we couldn't get anything out of the town because we couldn't get it for 5 years. So I think sometimes if you educate the people at the selectmen, I think then they get a better idea of what we're trying to do. Which I think that's something I think we should really push forward with for this coming, might not necessarily be in the early spring, but maybe a little more once the things come out. I mean, if you get it too early, you're not going to see the stuff that's invasive and everything else. And I think it's very important that we see it every day. We see what's going on with the properties and stuff like that. Some of these other people really, they just hear about it or see pictures, but when you actually see something, touch it, feel it, it's a whole different concept. And I think we could fine tune this a little bit more as we go through our meetings this coming over the winter here and everything, to try to set a date which would work with the selectmen, and maybe they could come out and see everything. We could show them what's going on, and they can get a better feel so they can understand why we're looking to try to move forward with getting long-term leases for the properties. Does anybody else have any comments on anything in relation to that?
I will add that, and I understand if the farmers wouldn't feel prepared to host a tour in early spring, but I will say sometimes early spring, if showing invasives is a goal, is when people tend to have the greatest impact is early spring, because they're the first to leaf out. So it's very clear to see the contrast of invasives versus natives. Though not all the natives have broken bud, it's obvious what isn't native. And I will say on the agenda, the bullet points B, partnership with Economic Development Commission. I'm curious to discuss that in further detail. I think that has some great potential. There's also that 2030 commission, and I'm sorry if I'm misspeaking that title, but I believe they're tasked with, envisioning the town, right, over the next decade or so, and are advising the selectmen on appropriate locations for certain things, like development or not. And it might be worth engaging them as well on the tours.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they'd like to say?
Well, I think you're exactly right, Chris and Andrea. That's a good point about, being able to really show and illustrate. So I guess can I make a motion to invite the first selectman, or to invite the selectmen and possibly EDC for a tour early of spring 2023?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I can't hear you. Did I lose you?
Yeah, I second that motion if folks are open to it.
Yeah.
If it's not.
Gina, can you just clarify tour what? Sorry, you said to tour.
Tour
leased
the leased farmlands.
To tour all the leased lands, or
No, I think some that are,
maybe it could be on a volunteer basis.
yeah.
I don't think that everyone would have to be forced to show, if they didn't feel ready to host, as was mentioned.
I think that's good on a volunteer basis. I mean, they still, I feel the selectmen and the first selectman, we should ask them, or we should ask Jerry to ask them when they, would be a good time for them. Maybe we could do it, beginning of May. Because, April, depending on weather, things really don't come out too much in April. They're more into May. you know, when they start coming out, maybe we can get this meeting for the, you know, in May sometime. I don't know. Because sometimes April, they're not really starting to come out yet. Anything's really starting to move, but it's all weather related. Maybe we can get some
Is
feedback
Paul
from Jerry.
is
Huh?
Paul able to weigh in on this right now?
Paul? You there,
Well,
Paul?
look, yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I think it's probably a good idea to invite the selectmen and have a tour. I'm just wondering what are you looking to show the selectmen?
I think, Paul, what they want to show is like Christina had the grant for, or was applying for a grant for invasive species. Is that correct, Christina?
That's correct.
Okay, so she wants to show them the types of species that we're trying to improve the land.
Mhm.
I could show land down on Litchfield Turnpike that if I change a crop or try to do something where I'd like to maybe put some deer fencing in there. And this is the parameter of what we got to do. The reason we do feed corn right now is because they don't, the deer or the animals don't beat it up as much. You know what I'm saying? You might have somebody in the center of town, you know, Keith Arnold does a lot of hay and he does it for his cows and stuff, but you know, he could say, you know, this is why I would like, you know, they're closing in his property a lot because we keep adding to different things. But, you know, he could just take a ride through. If everybody wanted to go, you know, or they wanted to meet somewhere, I'll bring a school bus and we could all get on the bus and all take a ride so everybody can see it. If they want to see everything and get an idea of what's going on. I think as we go through our meetings here, we can get a closer date of pinning something down, and also maybe go in front of the selectmen and say, look, you know, would you be willing to, you know, come and take a look at all this? And this is why we need maybe a possibly, and they had talked on a base-to-base reason why, if we wanted a long-term lease, why we would need it. They wanted to go on a base-to-base type of planning. So we could tell them what we're trying to plan. And then when they see the property, they have a better idea of what we're trying to do. So I think Jerry would be a big beneficial here to help us out here and try to talk with them and ask, you know, what would be or even talk to Beth, the first selectman, you know, and then see what she thinks.
If I can just add to that, Chris,
Yeah.
for Paul's, to respond to Paul's question, I do think that, you know, there's a handful of farmers who have these leases, who, you know, work every year to maintain these town-owned lands. And I think we all have a vested interest in making that land better over time. And some of the limitations to what we can do are directly because of the year-to-year leases, which, you know, is working, but also it might be good for the selectmen to see, well, these are the types of things that happen in all sorts of different cases, and you know, these are the people who are actually thinking about what steps and what things are necessary. And I think to have a firsthand view of that, to really kind of personalize it, would be important context in making decisions going forward.
Okay. I
Okay.
agree with you. I agree with you.
So Paul, do you
Okay.
think May would be an appropriate time for the board, or,
Well, I mean, climate-wise, that would be ideal. I think the board can probably make some time in May. Yeah, you know, especially if we give them kind of a heads up now, saying, look, you know, we'd like to do this in this time frame, and I think that's fair.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll have Jerry move forward on that for us, and maybe we might have to make a small presentation to the Board of Selectmen at one of their meetings. So we'll move forward on that, and I'll let Jerry get back to me and see what she can come up with of how she would like us to make the presentation to the selectmen in May of the possible tour. And I think that ties in with the 1-year leases, what we're talking about now and everything for the people. I think they sort of go hand in hand, and we can discuss that. I think as with the selectmen, I think better once they come and see where we're at with everything.
Chris, just one thing, because there was
Yeah.
a motion earlier, and I'm not sure if we have to circle back to that.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I totally agree with your point that it would help continue the conversation about the leases. But I just want to I don't want to wait till May to continue pursuing that effort. I don't want to jump ahead on the agenda before, the motion, we tie that loose end, but I'm hoping we can continue to work towards our goal between now and then, not just wait until after that outreach event.
I agree with you, Andrea. But I sort of want to talk with Jerry and get how she would make a presentation. Should we come to the selectmen and make a presentation to them, get on one of their agendas so we can keep moving forward with this? And that would be just part of, the visitation and all that. That's just, we can talk about it and just keep building it as we go through. And then that'll be part of, it'll climax once we get into May so they can see where we're at. So it isn't like we're going to take it off the table. We're going to keep bringing it up, maybe go to meetings and see how we go through. And then we've almost like put the cart ahead of the horse. You know what I mean? We're trying. Yeah. So,
I hear you.
I'll talk with Jerry and I'll see how she would like to make us so we can make the presentation on the extensions of the lease and what we might need to possibly do. Okay.
Okay. Are we on that agenda item right now, or?
No, we're not on any agenda.
Okay.
So that's why I sort of need to talk to Jerry to get on an
No, I'm
item.
saying-
So we,
On our agenda tonight, are we on a point 6 currently? Extension of 1-year leases?
yeah, I sort of combined, I
Okay.
put 5 and 6 together, almost like how I said was about touring. And I said that almost falls into extension of the
Right.
lease because it's like show and tell. Like, let me show you something and then we're going to talk about it. It's like one of those type things.
Yeah.
So I was trying
Thank you for
to,
the clarification.
yeah, okay.
Yep. I mean, Paul, you were in our meetings, in our minutes that we approved from April, we had that you were going to seek more information regarding the board's position on this, considering how it kind of fell through when we were supposed to be on their meeting agenda last spring.
Yeah, the annual meeting, right?
Yeah, the annual meeting. Were you able to gather that information? Slash, do you have anything to share with us on the subject?
Well, the last I recall, I think what I had requested is that we look at how other towns are handling this long-term lease situation. The long-term lease is, it may be difficult for the town to come to terms with, but how do other towns handle the requirement for a long-term lease when applying for the grants that are up for application? So you're right. I kind of forgot about that. I think we need to start looking at that again. I don't know which towns we can reach out to, but we should probably make an effort to inquire what their what their strategy is in handling that.
Paul, I'll reach out to like over in Orange. I know Jimmy Zioli very well.
Great.
And I know they lease land out. There's quite a few parcels there. I know some people out in Guilford as well. They have the Agricultural Commission. And so I'm going to reach out to a few people and try to get some information back, and maybe they have some policy of what they've done with the town and then the individuals who lease the
Right.
property. So I'm going to reach out to a couple of people and see where it brings us, and I can bring that back to our next meeting.
Okay, that would be terrific.
Okay?
I can volunteer to reach out to a few people as well, hopefully to broaden the pool. And if we can get some direct things from towns, that would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's public information, so that shouldn't be a problem. We might just have to have Jerry write, they probably might have to put it in writing, and then they could send it to Jerry for us, and she could then forward it to us. So we can, review it and everybody get an eye and take a look at it all.
Yeah.
So I will.
I just want to remind the commission members of DeFrancesco Farms in Northford.
Yeah.
They were an ally in helping us get this Ag Commission
Yeah.
started, if you remember. So that might
Right.
be a good one to reach out to as well. And I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Also.
If you could, Andrea, that'd be great.
Sure.
They have leases that they sign, they have an agreements, and I'm sure every town's a little bit different and they have different policies. And I think that's good. The more we bring in, the more we see of how these things are put together, I think, for everyone. And then we can get something that I think, could we make it work with Woodbridge? We're going to try to make it work and see how we can make it work. So, so everyone, I guess, we'll put together, I'll get some of that information and we'll move forward with that.
Great.
And then the last thing on the agenda tonight. Oh, no, we have also, it says there we go. It's about publicizing the Agricultural Commission and the new farms and best way to do it. And I think it was Andrea, I think you put an article in was it our town paper, or what did you?
Yep.
It was-
Woodbridge Town News.
So I think we should do that at least once a year, Andrea, or maybe we could do it, during spring, summer, and fall, maybe, or at least a couple times a year. I think we should at least bring it up. We have, he's done very well. He's over there on Baldwin Road as Christian Mortale, and he started Town Line Farm. He had bought that property, where some of the property there is in Derby and some's in Woodbridge there. And he's done a nice job there, really developing it, and with the hay maze and bringing stuff in. So it's exciting to see someone like that. He's a young guy, a lot of energy. He's put up a barn in the back, and I went and talked to him a lot, and he's going to bring in some
Yeah,
beef cattle. Christian, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to bring in some beef cattle he has coming in, and he's putting all the fencing in. So it's exciting to see, some new young blood that starts really, it's a lot of work, but he's got a lot of energy, and I think that's exciting to see. So, Andrea, I hate to, say, but you did a good job before. Do you think you want to put something in for us again? Can you do that?
I'm happy to. If I have, what would be what am I saying? What's the message we're trying to
I
convey?
think,
Hey, we're here.
I think we talk about here how long we've been here now. We could talk about some of the things that, we've talked about, the farm stand zoning regulations. We were able to get those changed. Just talk about a couple of things that we're we're, always welcoming new farms for participation, for ideas. And one of our things now on our agenda is, we're looking to work with the town on different type things like, leases and leasing of property and things to that nature. So just explain a little about what we're doing and how they could get a hold of us, and any questions they might have.
And how do they get a hold of us? Just
I think they
by attending one of our meetings?
They could attend one of our meetings and we could put the dates out there, Andrea. That's another thing we might want to say, the dates that we talked about, and they're virtual meetings, but you can pick them up off the town website.
Okay. I don't
Okay.
have a copy of the one I submitted last time. I lost some files, but I don't think that really matters. I can draft something. And is this something you would all like me to share prior to submitting and incorporate feedback?
Yeah, we could always add to it, I think that's good to add to it. And if you want, which I think is important, I think get everyone's opinion or feelings, and if they think we need to add something more, I think that's a great idea. And then,
I'll email a draft.
okay. All right, because I see smoke coming out of your ears already. You're ready to go. Okay. Anybody
I'll
else?
email a draft before our next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Does anybody else have any more comment on that? Okay. And the last one is, I think somebody had brought this up. I don't remember who it was. It says taxing of personal property used for farming operations, an example, time on computer. I'm not sure who brought that up.
That was a resident, Michael.
Yeah, that was I can't think of Mike's last name now, but has a place here on Newton Road.
Okay.
Michael Walter, maybe?
No,
Mike
not
Burns.
Michael Walter. Oh God, Mike.
Mike Burns.
Mike Burns. You're
That's
right.
it. Thank you.
I know Steve probably knows as well, but I know there's taxing of personal property used for farm operations. We have farm equipment and stuff. I know that that isn't taxable up to, I believe it's $100,000. I don't know the whole status on time on computers. I use the computer for my buses and stuff, so I just put, spreadsheets on that. So they're getting taxed anyway, so I'm not going to tax it twice. I just put it all under one thing. I don't use it as much, but I can't see, depending on how much you use it. I don't understand. I think he probably would need to come and maybe join one of our meetings and explain to where we're at. I think that's what so we understand what he's talking about, maybe more.
One thing I can do is, if you're not familiar with it, somewhere here in the files, I have the state statute that the assessor uses
Yeah,
to justify this. So I can send that all off to you.
that would be a fine, Jerry.
Okay.
I think I just filled one out just a month ago, or whatever. I can't, yeah, I know I
You
did.
better have. It was due the 1st of November.
Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom, yeah, okay. That would be great if you would do that, Jerry. And
I'll
then,
do that.
Is there anything anybody else would like to say on this, or would you like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting and we'll meet next December 13th? Do I have anybody to adjourn the meeting? Make a motion? First? Anybody first? I'll make a motion.
I'll second, or
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we'll see you guys on December 13th, and we'll have some information where we can move forward on a couple of these projects we talked about tonight. Thank you all for coming tonight.